so far as the grades are concerned, the eighth grade was when it was Carmel High. And the school had been built 4 years before. And some of the greater amenities were in by the time we got there. There was a track, football stadium. There were cement bleachers, and they had the present rather large basketball pavilion. And so the school was there. And so when we came, it was a tidy little school, small, because what happened is those who lived in the Carmel Valley and those who lived down the coast were bused by us to Monterey. And our school district was small at the time. It's expanded, and consequently the high school has expanded, but ours was small. And the eighth grade, of course, was interesting. There were not, spectator athletics for eighth graders, but we did a lot of watching of them. And I'll give you a diversionary story that I'm not sure you want in it, but anyway, I'll give it to you. So we're eighth graders, and there are these senior cheerleaders. And they were beautiful, in our opinion. Oh, they were lovely girls. And we sat down in the bottom row, so when they swirled around, we could see their red pants, And so, anyway, there was a Sadie Hawkins dance. And the senior girls invited Mike, Owen, and myself to the senior prom. They dumped us pretty early on, but except for some chiding, there was not much relationship between the upper class and ourselves. When I became a freshman, then it was all sports. I played football, and I was taller and heavier than I am now, but not very heavy because you didn't have to be in the 40s. If you were 170-pound lineman, you were big. Well, I was about that, and I achieved some prominence in football. I was all league, type different things. I swam competitively. I was a lifeguard, and didn't play. And I played pretty good basketball, but I was too short to really succeed. Couldn't hit a ball. I always sprained my fingers when I tried to catch it. So that game was out. But I did play a lot of football. In high school, I associated mostly with those who were on athletic teams. That was sort of the common denominator. As far as outstanding teachers in Carmel, from my perspective, in the high school, I would say that, again, I like most of them. One or two were disasters, but the rest were teachers that I enjoyed. What was interesting, too, was some of the teachers had a novel approach. And also, basically, as far as the scholastic level of the students was concerned, was very high. For instance, when I went to Stanford, of our class of 40, 5 of us went there. But anyway, there was an interesting approach by some of the teachers. I recall one of them would take us all out in the woods to teach. Not just sort of off campus, but not indeed deep in the woods. And he would ask philosophical questions of us. And it was not just straight rote memory. Our mathematics was superb. Our Our lab work was great. Mrs. Senior was our biology teacher, and she taught us about the facts of life, and everybody giggled. We'd also dissected animals and things like this. Her hair was stringy. She was sloppily dressed. She taught us everything. Parents were not happy with her. She just didn't seem like what teachers should be like. But she was very good. And I would say she would be one of my favorite teachers. We never got along personally. The relationship between us was not any different than any other student, but I admired her. And in high school, as I started being interested in cultural activities, to some extent, the first brushing with them, and that was because of the teachers. I think my first cultural interest was music. Although I didn't play an instrument, nevertheless, I enjoyed our music teacher very much. She didn't enjoy me as much as I enjoyed her because my middle name is Dead Tone. But that was the first thing. I think that was the first experience. I'm not sure it's culture, but as you get older, and your juices change, we got interested in music. Slow, romantic, cheek-to-cheek music, and of course, then there was the jitterbug and the rock and roll, a bit of that. So while I was not good at singing and played no musical instrument, I've been a good dancer, and I enjoy it. So that was a cultural activity that we were taught to dance, waltzes and the like. June Delight's dancing class. She was not a teacher, but operated independently. We all went to the class.